Today I wanted to talk about service tokens and by extension service profiles. You've often heard me talk about Equinix as a platform or an ecosystem, but what does that really mean? Well, one of the big value adds of Equinix is the degree of sort of hyper connectivity that we have here, and the way that we make that connectivity so seamless and centralized for our platform's members. One of the ways that we enable customers to connect to one another on Fabric is through, you guessed it, service profiles. You've probably already seen or interacted with some of these without even realizing what they were, including some of the big names like Azure, GCP, and AWS. Service profiles are a way to essentially bundle up and advertise your Fabric ports and network edge devices and make your services addressable to other members on the platform. Service profiles are a static presence that can be interacted with by someone seeking to consume the services of the provider or vendor in question who created them. They can be set up to be public, private, and made selectively available to customers when desired. Now, I like to think of service tokens as single-serving service profiles. What I mean by that is that unlike a service profile, a service token is a one-time consumable token that is generated, shared, and then consumed in order to make a connection to or from a Fabric port. It's important to call out that while service profiles can represent Fabric ports and/or network edge devices, service tokens are only able to be created addressing Fabric ports at the moment. When you and a partner or vendor decide you want to connect via a service token, one of you will create a service token and present it to the other, who will then redeem it to create the connection in the Fabric portal. When the service token is entered, it will populate the A or Z side information of the connection, depending on whether or not it is an A side or Z side service token. A side meaning the origination point of the connection, and Z side meaning the destination. In most instances, you'll be creating or redeeming a Z-side service token, which will essentially represent the destination of the virtual connection you're looking to build. A-side service tokens are a little less common and see some use with resellers who might have an ask to have a member create a connection from their port, which they may then invoice to that member or customer. From the Create Service Token page, let's demonstrate how to create and redeem a Z-side service token. First, I'm going to make sure I select Z-side. And next, I'm going to select a port at random from just one of the ports available to me in my profile. I'll give this a VLAN ID of 800, and I'll head to Next. You can see here I'm able to set an expiration date for this token, and I'm also going to be asked to outline the bandwidth limitations of this connection for the person redeeming it. In this case, as I've selected a 1 gig port, I'm only given the option to go up to 1 gig. And following that, I'll enter the email of the person I'd like to receive a notification about this token and head on to review. All the details here look good to me, and all that's left to do is hit create. Now I can copy this to my clipboard, and let's switch profiles here. Now, what I've done here is that I've logged out and logged back in under another account to simulate this being another platform member or user. So we're going to head to Connections and Create Connection. And about midway down the page here, I'm going to select this option to redeem a service token. All I have to do now is paste that in for my clipboard and hit Validate. Next, I'll hit Redeem. And as you can see here, since we're using a Z-side service token, like I said earlier, it's gone ahead and it's populated or filled in the Z-side information or destination of the virtual connection that we're creating. All I need to do now is outline the origin point of our connection. So I'll just select one of the ports available to me under this account and click Next. Next, I'm going to be prompted to give this a name. In this case, I'm going to go with Demo Z Side. I'll enter my VLAN ID. And I'll select one of the lower bandwidth options. All that's left to do now is submit the order. And there we have it. Next, we'll take a look at creating and redeeming an A-side service token, which, as you can probably imagine, isn't too different at all. I'll make sure I select A-side service token. I'll select a port, and I'll give this a VLAN ID. Then I'll click Next. Again, I'll be asked to give this a expiration date, and I can give this a bandwidth limit. Next, I'm going to be prompted to add an email recipient and click Next. Now with that, once again, I'm going to grab this service token to my clipboard, and I'm going to log out and log back in under the other account. Now, I've logged back into my secondary account, and once again, I'm going to navigate to Connections, Create Connection. However, unlike last time, I'm not going to click this Redeem using a service token option. I'm actually going to go to My Own Assets, followed by Connect My Assets as Eline. Remember, we created this A-side service token with the intention of connecting to ourselves from the port defined by the token. So next I'm going to hit Service Token here, and I'm simply going to paste that A-side service token in, which you'll see it populates with the port that we used on the other account. All I need to do now is define my Z-side or my destination. So I'm going to select one of these ports and hit Next. I'll name this connection Demo A-side. And I'll select the billing tier, the bandwidth that we defined in the service token itself, and click Next. All that's left to do is hit Submit. And there we go. And with that, we've covered A-side and Z-side service tokens, what they are, why they matter, and how to create them and how to redeem them. Next time, we'll take a look at service profiles and how to create and manage them. Until then, once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.